So we definitely want y'all to call in tonight. We want to hear from y'all. So tonight we're talking about the 80-20 rule. Talking about the 80-20 rule. So it's been so much talk about 50-50. It's been so much talk about, who does what, who's supposed to do what, gender roles, feminine, masculine, whatever. It's been so much talk about that. And so tonight we're just going to kind of break things down. We're going to talk about the 80-20 rule. Now, what's the 80-20 rule? The 80-20 rule goes for anything. But in marriage or relationships, the 80-20 rule says this. The 80-20 rule says you're going to get 80% of what you need, right? Or this is what I believe. Some people believe it's the opposite. But I think you're going to get 80% of what you need. And then there's going to be that 20% left out of what you want. So many people mess up their relationship. So many people mess up their marriages. So many people mess up, just their life in general because of that 20% that they don't get. So when you feel like you're not getting that 20% of what you want, what you need kind of goes, what you have, like it's kind of like that old saying, you can't see what you have for looking at what you don't have or looking at what you want. So we're going to be talking about 80-20. How do you feel about the 80-20 rule, just in general?
I believe the 80-20 rule does exist. I do believe that. I hate to say it like this, but I don't think anyone gets like 100%. I don't think that. I mean, there are some things that you're going to have to compromise on, but you have to know what do you value the most. So if you have a realistic expectation, because we oftentimes we strongly speak that language here on the Loveless Marriage about being realistic in your expectations, I think you will be okay. I'm not saying that you have to settle, because I know everybody's preaching, I'm not going to settle. I'm going to get everything on my list and God going to do it. Amen. But I do believe that there are some things that you may have to compromise on, and you may not get everything. But if that 80%, if that 89, look, if it's 90-10 rule, if it's getting where, if you are getting majority of what you need from your partner, then maybe that's where you need to pray and ask God to fill the 20%. But yeah, so look, I did not pick this topic, ladies and gentlemen. Which camera I'm looking at? I did not pick this topic tonight. Carl picked this topic, so he is going to lead this wonderful discussion.
Always the middle camera. So
always the middle camera.
So so 80-20 rule. So when we look at what's 80-20, I heard someone say that it's the opposite. You get 80% of what you want and 20% of what you need. I was actually watching an interview with she's not a relationship coach. She's so much more than that, but we'll just say relationship coach with Miss April Mason.
Yeah, she's really good.
And yeah, she was really good.
I enjoy
she's
her
somebody.
Content.
She's somebody I really enjoy listening to because she's realistic. It's not the fact that she's favorable towards men or favorable towards women. She's just realistic, and just looking at her and listening to her content, it's like a breath of fresh air, because so many people are saying so many things, but not enough people are saying the right things. And so I think, and I'm gonna make this statement. I'm just make this statement.
Okay.
I think everyone settles. I don't understand when people say I'm not settling. Before I settle, I'll just stay by myself. Before I settle, everybody's going to settle in some shape, fashion, form, because I believe that because the person God has for you may not fit your criteria, right? It may not fit what you think you should have. It may not fit who you think, because I think in some type of way we all think of ourselves more highly than what we are. We do. Like, and that was one of the things she was saying during the podcast, during the interview, was that she looked at herself like I'm just the junk, like
not the junk.
Yeah, like she said she looked at herself like she was everything, but she had to be realistic with herself.
Right.
And when she got realistic with herself, it helped her to be realistic with other people also. So let's start here. Do you agree with everyone settles?
I think it's weird, because I think settling, it depends on what are you settling with and for. Mm-hmm. I think everyone compromises. There's some things that you compromise in. So settling, I mean, if you want to call, yeah, thank you, Cousin Claire. It's called compromise, not settle. So when she said she's never heard, she said maybe I'm too old, you're not too old, but she said she's never heard of that rule before. But yeah, I don't think you settle. I think that you compromise with something, because I don't think there is a person that can give you 100%. I mean, I just don't, and I don't think that's realistic. I think there's some things that, you know, you're going to have to compromise. You're going to have to say, okay, well, you know, they're meeting this need, and we'll work on that, the little 20%. Like I said, you know, maybe that's the 20% that the Lord need to take care of. Because to me, your partner should not be the one. Oh God, I might get in trouble for saying all this, but like, I don't look to you to fulfill all my needs. It's
impossible.
That's impossible. And I don't think that's fair. You know, there are some things in looking for a spouse that I absolutely I had on a list that, you know, you definitely met those qualities. You definitely met those things, but I wasn't looking to you to fulfill certain needs. And I think some people go into relationships doing that. So I think you have to be honest with yourself to say, okay, what are the really important things on my list? As we talked about the non-negotiables, and then go from there. But no, I do not look to you to fulfill all my needs, because you will fail. I will fail. And I think that's putting unrealistic expectations on your partner. So no, I don't look to you to fulfill those things.
I mean, that kind of goes against what we hear a lot, though. That definitely goes against the grain of what we hear today in this dating world. Because when people say that I'm not settling, and then they immediately jump to, well, I can do bad all by myself. You know, why am I going to go from 100% to 50-50 or to 80-20 when I can just stay at 100 my whole life? Which I don't understand, because you'd rather be at 100% your whole life and not settle, as we say. So, and I agree. I don't think it's settling. I think it's compromise. You're going to compromise on some things, but it just seems like settling is that hot button word. Right. So maybe we should ask, and again, you can call in with the Zoom meeting ID. You could be on camera. You can not be on camera, whatever you want to do. But if you want to call in, tell us what are your non-negotiables.
I'm nervous, y'all. I'm nervous about this new little call-in thing.
We can, you know what?
I'm not even going to lie. I'm nervous.
You know what? Being the Loveless Marriage, if you call in and tell us what you would compromise in and not compromise in, maybe we could tell you if you're being realistic or not.
Right.
You know, maybe we could try to help in that area. Hey, what's up, Chris? And Claire and Bethany. Aisha. But maybe we can help you in that area. So definitely call in. The Zoom meeting is right there on the screen.
Look, I'm
with
trying
the passcode.
Put the church finger up. So Aisha said that some see it as settling, others see it as compromise. I think it's perception. That's right. Claire says, I think you should come into the relationship as a whole. Come into the relationship as whole as possible. That way you won't look for the partner to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you should definitely come in as a whole person, as opposed to coming in looking for somebody to fix you, or looking for somebody to make up what you don't have. I mean, and so the reason why I say everybody.
What do you mean by make up what you don't have? Because I think in relationships, I believe that your spouse should compliment you.
Yeah.
So, what do you mean by make up what you don't have? Like, you mean like, and I have. Let me put this disclaimer. I have a father in my life. He's fully there. Text me all, my daddy is all the way in. So like, if I had like daddy issues, are you saying that I shouldn't look to you to be my daddy? Like, oh, my husband, like this is my, I guess to fill that father figure role in my life. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because I'm not your dad. Like I'm not here to heal childhood traumas or childhood wounds. Right. I'm here to be your husband.
Right.
Like I'm here to love you as Christ loved the church. Like I'm here. I can't reach back when you was 10 and heal you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I can't. And so a lot of people disqualify good people because they weren't willing to stick by them while they went through the healing process. But that's not somebody's responsibility. It's not someone's responsibility in dating. Now, once you marry, that's a different topic.
Right.
But in dating, no one has to stick by you at your worst and see you through that. Because if I'm whole and I'm looking for somebody who's whole also, I have options. I have the option to go find somebody.
You got options.
You have the option to go find somebody who has done the work, who's been to counseling, who's been to therapy, who's ready to date. And it's sad, but I think a lot of people, even though they want marriage or they want someone to compliment them, they're not ready. And you use the word compliment.
Right.
So when I think of compliment, I think of, okay, if you're beautiful and someone comes along and say, you're beautiful, the beauty's already there. I'm just complimenting you on the beauty.
Okay.
So I'm not trying to heal you. I'm just bringing out what's already there. And I think that's kind of the power of a spouse or a relationship.
Right.
That right fit for you is going to bring out what's already there. What's in you is in you.
It's going to enhance it.
Yeah, it's going to enhance it.
Okay.
And so once it enhances it, it's going to make you better and not necessarily heal you. There's a difference between healing you and making you better.
Okay.
And so we should be looking for people who are going to make us better and not trying to fix us because of all the wounds and the scars we have from the past.
So let me ask you this. How do you think, because I'll say this just when you and I started talking, because I even told you that I had just gotten out of a relationship and I was just trying to figure things out because I guess I was in a state of denial about some things and just trying to understand, like, okay, well, what did I do wrong? Or is it me? Is it them? You know, do I even want to honestly be remarried again? Because I was kind of getting to a place that I was like, you know, like I said before, you know, I did date, you know, a few people, and I was kind of like getting to the place like, okay, well, if I'm going to be alone, then, you know, let me settle into being alone and let me be okay with being alone. And then you came along, and I told you, like, hey, if you trying to get into a relationship, you might need to wait because I'm not there yet. Do you think that it is, if you're interested in a person, do you think that a person should wait, or do you think that you should, after they've told you, like, you know, if you're really interested in that person, do you think that you should wait? Or do you think that person should just go ahead and just talk to somebody else, and then, you know, if you get yourself together, they should come circle back around and try to talk to you? Like, do you still think that you all should, you know, become friends, you know, try to form a friendship to see, or do you think you should just let it go? That person should let it go.
I'm not waiting at this point. I'm just saying, like at this point in my life.
So you would tell somebody, don't wait.
Yeah, I would tell somebody, what are you waiting for when there's somebody else out there that could possibly have done the work? Like, I'm not at this point. So
even if they liked you, even if they want to be with you, but you were just trying to work out some quirks, now you would tell them, don't even waste your time, go on and move on.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's okay. It depend on your age also. Let's just talk for real. If you 19, 20 years old, you got time. Like, you don't have time, but you got time. You got time to go through that process, to go through, well, they could be a good person, but at 35 plus 40, I ain't waiting on nobody. Like, that's I'm not. If you ain't figured it out by now, and I know that might sound cold, but this is time. Listen, I always tell people, you have one life to live. Right. Like, we only get one life to live. Why waste your life being in something where you become a handyman in a relationship, whether you're male or female? It's always a project that fits. It's always something to fix.
Right.
This fell off today. I gotta
how
fix
about
this.
How about this person said, I don't want you, I'm not like asking you to come on to take on a project, so to speak, but like, so say like if a young lady were to approach you, if we weren't married, and they say, hey, you know, if she says, I'm actively in counseling right now, you know, I am interested in possibly, you know, pursuing a relationship with you, but I'm in counseling. I'm trying to do the work to get better. Would you, is that still a project because she's in counseling? She's trying to become better?
I guess. And again, it's
I
gonna
need you to speak clearly, please.
it's gonna vary from person to person. But I think that if you are in counseling, that if you are making steps towards where you want to go, it does make a difference. And I'll say this because a person. So let's just say you're dating a person who wants to become a lawyer.
Okay.
And all they say is, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a lawyer. They went to school, no pre-law. No, they just keep saying it. But you're dating a person who says, I want to be a lawyer, and they're in their 5th year of law school. It's different because they're taking steps
to become better,
to become what they want to be, to become what they're saying.
Okay.
And I think a lot of us get stuck in this relationship thing because we start believing people's words instead of looking at their actions.
Okay.
And say, okay, you want to be better, but you're not doing anything.
You're not putting the work in.
Yeah, you're not putting the work in to actually be better. Like, don't tell me you want to be a wife and you're not putting the work in. Don't tell me you want to find a woman and marry her and be a husband and you're not putting the work in to actually become what you want.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. So,
because you just said you wouldn't gonna be waiting for nobody to put no work. But if they go into counseling, then you would possibly consider.
No, I'm not waiting on nobody who's not doing the work.
That's what I just said. That clear.
Yeah. So if I don't know,
Just said
because I'm not wasting my time. Like, time is something that we don't have a luxury of wasting.
Right.
And so I think that you should be clear. As a matter of fact, I was going to talk about the podcast I watched today. I think Ebony watched it also. The whole
Hi,
way
y'all.
through.
Look, before we get in, hi, y'all. For y'all that's joining us, I know it's like, okay, Lord, what they about to talk about today. Hopefully you guys won't drop off. But we're kind of talking about the 80-20 rule. Some people said they've heard of it. Some people say they haven't. But that is our discussion today.
Yeah, and also you see at the bottom of the screen that you can call in through Zoom. Just go to Zoom, join the meeting ID and passcode, and let us know what your 80-20 is.
Right.
Let us know what's the 20% you want and the 80% you need. Because if you get 80% of what you need, you should be good. Nobody's going to get 100%. We started out saying everybody settles, everybody compromises, whatever you want to call it. But nobody is going to get 100% of what they need.
And even if you disagree, please chime in, because that's what it's about. We love, we're here for discussion. We're here to laugh. We're here to get some clarity, and you may be able to help us out or help your fellow nieces and nephews, aunties, cousins, get their life together, because that's what it's all about. We're just here to help each other. So
yeah.
But go ahead. You're talking about the podcast that we were watching today.
So we watched Dear Future Wifey today with April Mason.
It was a really good podcast.
Really
if
good.
you guys haven't saw it, you guys should go check it out.
Yeah. So it was really good today, and they were just discussing relationships and dating, and he got to a point where they talked about an old video he did about he was seriously dating a woman, and he was going to marry her. Like, he was going to propose, had got the ring, and she came to him.
Hold on. They actually did pre-marital counseling.
Yeah.
They didn't even get engaged, but he said he just felt a strong urge to do pre-relationship marital counseling, which I was like, wow, I was impressed, because I've never heard anybody doing that. But I was like, hats off to them. And maybe that's something that people should start considering before you get married, before you get engaged. Do pre-counseling together so you can kind of unpack some things to make sure y'all on a good path.
Yeah. And so the mayor just asked a question, and we're going to get to the questions. I'll come back to what I was saying. Said, is it okay to wait until they have finished the work? Because if they slack off when we get married, then the woman is screwed. I believe God, but not man so much. You want to take that one? Because that's coming from a female perspective, and I know what I think, but...
Okay.
And again, y'all can call in with y'all questions too.
Yeah, y'all can call in. Is it okay to wait until they finish the work? I do believe that people can slack off. I do believe that is honest. Some people just do what they can to get you, and then after they got you, then they're like, okay, well, I got her or I got him. I ain't got to do nothing. So I do believe if if you're wanting, if you're wanting to wait to see, you know, to make sure that the tree is bearing fruit, because even Jesus, you know, he kind of he condemned the tree that wasn't bearing fruit. It's supposed to be a fig tree, supposed to be producing fruit, and Lord, you know, walked past it. I didn't mean to go there, and he was like, "This tree ain't producing," so you know, he condemned the tree for not, you know. So I do believe, you know, it is okay until after they finish the work, but keep in mind though, don't be mad if they don't want to circle back around to you though. Because maybe they feel like you don't possess certain qualities that, you know, that they may need in a partner or a spouse, and hopefully be okay with their no. Because and oftentimes we, you know, we talk about, you know, being okay with our yes, but you might need to be okay with their no.
Yeah.
Because, you know, don't nobody like to be rejected. And they kind of talked about that too on the podcast we were watching earlier. And I think I've done a tinge of what she talked about, the whole sometimes you try to pursue somebody just to see if you, and I think you talked about it too before, like if you still got it or not, and then you get them and you're like, I just want to see if I could get you, and now that I got you, it's like, okay, that's another different subject for another day. But I do believe that, you know, you do have the I do believe that, you know what, if you feel like, okay, this is a good quality person, but let them finish the work. Again, they may, after they finish the work, they may feel like that you're not what they want, and then you might feel like, you know, you might meet somebody new, and you might be like, okay, well, you know, hey, you know, we both have found two different partners and two different paths, and just go from there. But don't feel bad about your choice. If that's something that you're strongly convicted about, you know, don't let them try to pressure you, because some people try to, you know, guilt trip you into staying. But if you're really like, if you feel convicted and you feel like the discernment is there, like, I need to back up so they can get themselves together, do it.
Yeah. And so the marriage just said, so it's a calculated risk. Yep. Basically it is
relationships. I mean, that's, absolutely,
that's what it is. And that's why we're leaning so heavy tonight on the 80-20 rule. That's our subject, because that calculated risk is in that 20%.
Right.
So if a person can give you 80% of what you need,
right,
I'm telling you, the Bible says love hides a multitude of faults. Now that doesn't mean just go in when you know there's a lot of faults with this person, but I believe that's saying, if you're getting that 80% of what you need, if that person is providing you, if that person is speaking your love language, as we say, if that person is continuously trying to make you happy, there's going to be some 20% that it could run you away, but you got to deal with it, because nobody is going to be everything you're looking for.
And I don't think the person's supposed to be like, I don't want to say like a God, but I don't think you should put that person up there like they got to meet all of your needs, all of your expectations. Like, no, I think if we're honest with each other, I'm sure it was 80-20 with us too. I mean, I don't think it was like, oh my God, you know, but the main majority things on my list that I needed, you did meet. Like, and we even actually, after we watched this podcast, we kind of talked about, well, look, I always sharing and caring with Carl. Carl don't be sharing and caring with me.
I have nothing to share.
Swear to God. See, this is the 20% I deal with. I ain't got nothing to share. But you know, I share with Carl, you know, I was joking, but I was being serious. Like, you know, somebody could, you know, I could say, well, this was my 20% with you. But again, you have to kind of know, like, again, like I wasn't looking for Carl to fulfill 100% of my needs, because I knew that he couldn't. Because I think that there's just some places and spaces that God is supposed to fulfill that. Like, I don't think that you should look to your partner to fulfill those certain things. But that's just me. But y'all can go ahead and chime on in and let us know what y'all think. And then if y'all don't want to, if y'all would like to share with us, you know, what are some of your what's your 80, you know, what's your 80% that you're looking for? And then what's your 80% that you feel like you possess to bring to the table?
Yeah.
Because oftentimes, and like I said, we were watching this podcast, and Miss April was saying that oftentimes when she asks women, about relationships, about, well, what do you feel that you can bring to a man? They often read the resume of life, but they don't speak to what, not physical, but what qualities that they present as wife material to a man. They often, like I said, they read their resumes, but they don't really take the time to say, hey, this is a quality that I have, or this is ABCD that makes me a candidate to be a good wife. And I believe she said men, she does the same thing with men too. So
yeah, and I just think, okay, so what she said,
I don't think no men I don't think y'all calling in. I think y'all scared to call in.
It kind of spoke to what she said. She said, so when she talks to women, she says, give me why a man should choose you as a wife. You can't use your income. You can't use, you own a house, you own a car, because let's be honest, that's just being an adult. Like that's just being a grown up. Like I don't know how else to say it. So why would a person choose you despite your what you've earned? And I think that when she said that, she said 99% of women can't answer.
Right.
Like, because now it seems like today you get the answers in the 20%. It's that 20%. Well, I have a good job. Right. I can do such and such in bed. I can do, whatever. But rarely do you hear, well, I can bring you peace. I can be a great mother. The house is going to be peaceful. Whatever you need, I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to help you get to where you need to be. That's the 80%. And so I think most of us in that dating field, we lead with the 20%, which is why we don't get chosen sometimes, because when you lead with just what I want, it doesn't fulfill what I need.
Look, Brother Carl said he need peace twice, so I must not be giving him peace.
Two times.
I must not be giving Brother Carl peace because he said it twice. So pray for his strength in the Lord.
Oh.
Damaris said, go ahead. She said, can you put the number back on the screen so people can see the call in and see if y'all want to chit chat. So. All
right. So we're calling in through Zoom. So just put in the meeting ID, where it's right there at the bottom of the screen, and the passcode. You can be on camera. You cannot be on camera, but we'll bring you on. You can ask your questions. And we really want to know tonight, what is in your 80%? What is in your 20%? What are you willing to give up to get what you want, basically?
Right.
Like where are you willing to settle? Where are you willing to compromise in order to get the thing you really want? Because you got to give up something to get something.
And even if you're married and we're here for it, tell us what, some of the things, because we do have some friends that actually are newly married, or, that have been divorced and, are contemplating getting married again, and they're a little scared because they see the dating pool out here in these streets and it ain't looking too friendly. Tell us what are your realistic expectations, dating, finding a partner, finding a spouse, or honestly, like I said, with me, I was honestly thinking do I want to be remarried again? If you are divorced or, happily single, because everybody that's single don't want to be married, and that's fine. Don't feel pressured to jump back in there. But, what are some reasons that are keeping you from wanting to be, remarried, or, are you just perfectly content in your singleness?
Yeah. And so, we'll read a comment because our computer just rebooted. So, seriously, computer just rebooted. So we're going to look at, just because, I'm feeling some words, just because some go to some sessions doesn't mean that you're healed. Most people have been through all types of things in life, partly because of their childhood. It's important to actively work on improving self. It's unrealistic to think that a person can make you 100% happy.
Absolutely.
If you want 100% happy, I suggest you look to God.
Absolutely. That's period.
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 Like,
no explanation needed.
If you need to be 100% happy, then you should really be talking to God, because He's the only one
that can fulfill that need.
And then let's be real. if you're really in God, He not gonna make you 100% happy.
I was about to say, God ain't gonna make you happy all the time either.
He gonna give you what you need, and
And
not necessarily what your flesh desires or what you want.
And He gonna check you too. So look, even Jesus checks us. Even Jesus tells us, you know what, you need to get your life together. Like you slacking, like you not coming to me like you used to. You not praying to me. You not seeking my face, or you know, you not doing what you need to do. So even Jesus would check you. So, you know, I'm just saying. I'm just speaking my truth.
Yeah. So going back to the podcast, he was saying that, you know, they went through counseling and they were preparing to actually get married. They're making steps towards marriage.
Right.
And she came to the place where she realized, I'm not ready to be a wife. She was like, you know, I don't feel qualified enough to be a wife, which I think she shot herself in the foot.
Why?
Because none of us are ready to be. And let me just explain. Because I think it's a cop out. You finally get what you want.
It's a cop out.
Yes, because
okay, let's unpack
because
this.
you finally get what you've been praying for, what you say you want, and as soon as it presents itself to you, it's, oh, I'm not ready. Then what was the whole dating process about? Like, why even? I'll let you talk on that one, because I
don't think it's a cop out. I think she was being realistic. Like we talked about before, sometimes if you know, like for this particular young lady, she was going to be dating this man that was a public figure. There's a lot that comes with dating someone that's in the limelight, that's in the public figure, and that's a lot to unpack and to unravel if you're not. She may have confident issues. She may not be confident within herself. She may deal with little issues of insecurity. So I commend her from. If you willing to say, you know what, I think I might not be ready to take this deep dive. Let's just break up and, you know, maybe be with somebody. I commend a person that says that because that's emotional maturity. To me, that is emotional maturity when you can say, you know what, I don't have the capacity to handle this relationship, or I may not be fully equipped to be with, you know, what your purpose, you know, needs.
Okay, so we're about to bring on Damaris. She did call in.
Hi, Maris.
Hold on, let me make sure we good here before we bring you on screen. And so, yeah, so we're talking about the 80-20 rule. And so we do, since we're bringing on Damaris, let me see, let's go back. All right. Okay, here we go. All right, Damaris, you may have to unmute your phone.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Okay, so, hey, can y'all hear me?
We can.
Okay, perfect. So, two things to what you just said, Carl. Okay, you don't know what you don't know until you get into something. You might have had an experience with one person, and based off that experience, you were ready for marriage. And you had a view of what it looked like. You get with someone else, and that person is totally different, and they have different needs. And then you realize when it's presented to you, like, oh, wait a minute, I don't think I'm ready for that with that person. I didn't even know that existed. So the whole 80-20 is based off of your past experiences. They're all based off of those different people. But when you come in contact with someone else, you'll realize that, now I might deal with this thing with this person, but I wouldn't have with that other person.
Why is that?
And because of how we feel about those people.
Okay. So you think that you would only,
okay,
it would be conditional.
So there was someone I was talking to.
Okay.
It is definitely conditional. I would say that.
It is conditional.
And someone might say, oh, no, that's not true. Okay. So say your non-negotiable is cigarette smoking. Okay. And Idris comes along and says, I want you. Well, that's smoking. I mean, it's, just don't smoke in the house.
You talk about Idris Elba.
Yes, exactly. So you might switch up some of those non-negotiables based on that person and what they bring and how they make you feel.
Okay, so
But those,
okay, so I would say this. I would say that based on your experience, if you don't want a smoker, if that's your non-negotiable, and you compromise on that, the person may be fine as all get out, but eventually you're gonna get tired of smelling smoke.
Absolutely.
It's gonna get in their clothes, even though they smoke outside. It's on their breath. So in the beginning, you're looking at, oh, this is Idris. Idris. And so, but if smoking is your non-negotiable, why would you change that just because it's a special person? And I kind of think that's where we get in trouble, because my 20% was set. It don't matter who it was. So I'm just not with compromising on my 20% because my 20% is already a compromise. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
true. But if you don't, okay, so there was something I compromised on, but I did not know this thing until we had started dating and I started having feelings for the person. And of all things, I did not ask them about this, and this information was not disclosed until way after the fact. So now you're like, oh man.
So let me ask you this. So what was disclosed, was that a non-negotiable?
It was one of my non-negotiables, and yes, it did sour along the way, and it did change things, but
Okay.
maybe not for others. Like I do know someone that smoking is one of their non-negotiables, but they said after a while, because of this person, they're like, it wasn't even that bad anymore. But that was them. That's not for everybody.
Right.
So it's not a black and white across the board. It's that person. So
Now, why does it just make it that person and not
you might want
white?
somebody that needs straight, that needs that straight.
Say that
Why
again.
does it make it just that person?
Why is it okay? Why if it's a non-negotiable? Why is it okay? Well, for him, since we're just saying, since we're just talking, if it's him, oh, okay, no, I'm not going to deal with that. But if it's somebody else, why is it okay? I'll bend the rules a little bit. Why can't it be this is my stance and I'm not compromising, period?
Because of where we are in our life, and everyone is different. And you should say, oh yes, I need someone that speaks in tongues. But someone else comes around and your eyes have been open and you're like, okay, well, they don't speak in tongues, but they love Jesus. So, maybe I need to see things different, so it's going to change. You don't know until you meet that person. And some of those non-negotiables, I mean, do they, if they don't affect your salvation, then okay, that's fine. But we might only have been exposed to certain things, that you meet someone else that might open your eyes and you're like, I didn't see it that way. I always just thought I needed someone that was 6'7", because my dad was 6'7".
Okay.
And this person you meet is 5'2", and you're like, I never dated.
We're not talking. Come on, Demare.
about stuff you
But
can't change.
you got to make it dream. Okay. Just
Okay.
in general,
Let's talk about real non-negotiables. Like, let's take superficial stuff off the table, like height. What is something, like you said, smoking for me, and somebody else put on the thing. I have asthma, so I'm definitely not gonna talk to somebody that smokes. I don't like cigarette smoke. I don't like weed smoke. I don't like no smoke. So that would definitely be a non-negotiable. Like, that wouldn't even be nothing that would.
You like some smoke.
I was about to catch myself. Praise the Lord. I was about to catch myself. No, but what I'm saying is, let's be real. Why is it like Aisha says, sounds like different rules for different individuals? I think it's because, to me, if you're willing to bend on one thing with one person and not another, it's because you're fully vested a little bit more in that other person, and you really like that person, so you are willing to compromise which you normally wouldn't, just because, oh, I like them. And because after a while, no offense, if you dating somebody, we're not saying Damaris is, but if you're dating somebody that smokes, and then if you're a person that likes to kiss, or you're really OCD about smells and the way different things, it's gonna wear on you. Yeah. And it's like, why am I could find somebody else that don't smoke that can meet that can fulfill the other needs.
Yeah.
Okay, so those non-negotiables are a lot. Okay, we're talking about smoking. That's
right.
That's real.
That's why I said
Okay?
surface.
But but there are some non-negotiables that, let's see,
just
maybe education.
Okay.
Like they need to have college degree. They need to have blank, blank, blank.
Now, why do they need to have a college degree? Why do they need to have a college degree?
And then but that's it doesn't matter why. If it's my non-negotiable, it is what it is. Everyone has different things that they say. They write on their board, I want this, 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 and this. And as you get older, as you evolve, as life, as you experience life, you're going to change on some things. When I look at my list from when I was 20, oh my God, it's just ridiculous. I said he had to have a gold tee. He had to make $25,000. I was like, oh, Jesus, I need to upgrade this list. Like, this is outdated. But
we're laughing.
Now that I'm older, it's like, it's different now.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're laughing, but that's actually a really good point, because a lot of us need to update our list. Right. When we were watching the podcast today, April Mason, who's known worldwide, said when she was younger, she had 72 things on her list, but now she has 5. And so she's learned through life that those 72 things kept me, well, she was married before, but it didn't work out. But she was looking at, this stuff is keeping me single. And a lot of people don't evaluate your list. Like, I've got a college degree. There was some women who wouldn't talk to me, like when I was dating. They wanted to make sure I graduated from college. But there are some people who are electricians, who are HVAC, who make way more than me with no college degree. And so as you grow, you'll look at, okay, he got a college degree, but he can't afford the house I want. This electrician can give me exactly what I want with no college degree. So our 20%, even though it's primarily set in stone, we have to now evaluate whether what's set in stone is realistic. And it's okay every few years to rewrite your list, to rewrite the 80%, to rewrite the 20%.
And I'll say this, if you have this list, and Lord forgive me, because I'm a woman, I'm going to say this, and if you don't even meet the 20%, then how you gonna hold that other person to that standard? Yeah. I think that's very, what's the good word I can use? I think that's kind of shady. Like, no offense, on my list, I wasn't even thinking, okay, he has to have a college degree. That wasn't on my list. I needed to, for me, I wanted to know, did he have employment? That was, important. And not just employment, was it legal employment?
But I will say this, I think you were the exception to the rule, because even in dating you, and we were talking about employment, you want to know, okay, do you have a job? How much do you make? And then let's work within your parameters of what you make. For a lot of people, that's not even
Oh,
a
wow.
discussion. They will say, if you don't make this, if you can't help me maintain this lifestyle, on to the next one. And so I think, and it speaks to mindset again, you have to be willing to kind of change your mindset. Now you want what you want.
Right.
If that's what you want, I pray you get it, because there's no guarantee you will, there's no guarantee you won't. But if that's on your non-negotiable, having college degree or making a certain amount, I pray you get it. Yeah.
Okay. So Aisha said non-negotiable means not up for the debate. Granted, at times they may change depending where you are in life. Andrea said, I was determined not to date someone who lived out of town, but ended up marrying someone who did. So again, let me ask you this, Andrea. Was that a non-negotiable for you? Hopefully you can chime in. But go ahead, Damaris. This is good.
Oh, and my second question was about something you referenced earlier. I was talking to someone, and we both heard the same message from the pastor. He's a prominent, pastor now, and he said, my wife was with me when I had to go through the drive-through and roll down, open my car door, because my window didn't work. And because she was a ride or die back then, there's nothing I wouldn't do for her now. And I'll give her the world. And of course, everybody cheered about that. And so the person kind of held that over my head somewhat. It came up a lot, like, okay, because you're gonna be with me here at the bottom, there's nothing I wouldn't do for you later. So to something that I called out earlier in the chat, like you're holding on to something, because you feel like I have the obligation to be that ride or die. And okay, I gotta be in the trenches with somebody and help them get through, and but it's gonna be greater later. You
better preach, daughter. Preach, daughter.
It'll be great.
It'll be greater later.
It
sounds good.
But when you're old, but in your 20s, it's great. You guys are in the same place in your 20s. You're trying to find your way in life, but you get close to 50. How much riding do I have to do?
Yeah. And
I'm sorry.
and I would say to that, number one, I don't know the person. So what I'm going to say is general, right? So at our age, you should kind of know where you're going. It ain't no let's wait and see, let's ride or die. I know the direction as a 40-year-old man where I'm going. So that's one way to look at it. Number two, it could be manipulation. I hate to say that, but as a man, I'm too old to be like, okay, you're going to see, I'm going to be something. That's cool when you're 20, right? That's cool when you're 30. But when we 40 and 50, like, you should have a direction of where you want to go. The first thing God gives any man is direction. Abraham, leave. Noah, build. Adam, tend the garden. Like, that's the first thing he gives us. Now, we may spend our 20s and 30s trying to figure it out. But at this stage, it ain't no ride or die, I'm going to be something, you going to see. No, we need direction. Like, we're men. So men ain't sitting around wishing on a shooting star. We have a direction, and we know which way we want to go. But again, I don't know the person. It could be he's figuring out things later in life. So I'm not saying it's manipulation. I'm not saying he ain't figured it out. I'm just saying at this stage, I've never heard a man my age say that.
So let me ask you this. What happens if, I sound so churchy what I'm about to say. What happens if they're in a weird season and you just came into their life during this season of difficulty?
Who, for me?
Then
For you or Damaris, since Damaris kind of brought it up a little bit, because it kind of sounds like, okay, this person is trying to get their bearings, together. They're trying to. I know where I want to go, but I'm just hitting some bumps along the way.
Yeah, I think Damaris would probably be better to answer that because
That's what it sounds like from the message that they heard. And maybe this
well,
person.
the person, yeah, the person wanted to
dealing
make
with
a
some
whole
bumps
life
right
change.
okay, and I think that matters
So
because
if you're talking about making a life change at this part of your life, yeah.
And context is
Go ahead,
everything.
Carl.
yeah, context is everything.
So
Because if they
Yeah.
just gotten divorced and they're trying to rebuild their life, if there was family trauma, some people don't recover from trauma like other people, like a parent passing or, and that's why I say I don't want to say that's what it is because I don't know the person.
right.
And so you have to know that person to know, is this what they're telling me? Are they showing it to me?
And it speaks to the track record of experience that you've had with this person.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes, like, it's weird, even when I pray to God, I tell God, your track record is impeccable. You haven't failed me. I know you're going to come through. When I'm in my prayers, I say that back to God. So yes, I may be afraid because this is something different that I'm trying to maneuver through, but I know you're there. How is this person's track record since you all have been dating? Have they shown you inconsistency for the 80% that they're bringing? Or is it the 20% that just keeps building roadblocks that the 80% don't even matter because the 20 is just overriding it? Because your actions, like Aisha said, actions are everything. What are you showing me? I mean, that's matters. Like, are they showing up in that other 80% and it's just that 10.5 that they struggling in it with?
Yeah.
Like I said, context is everything, so we don't know. So you got to give us that piece.
Oh gosh, I'm spilling tea.
Yeah, we're waiting for the answer. Are they delivering in the other 80%, but the 10.5 right now is a little rocky?
So if I'm saying one of the things
Just
that
say it,
as a
friend.
woman I need in my life is security.
Okay.
If I'm not seeing that today, I'm really holding on to a hope and a prayer, that
Okay.
your dreams will come to pass in Jesus' name. I haven't seen. I'm Ebony. So yeah, it's and how long do you have to stay with somebody? So
You
it's
ain't gotta
not having a long
stay.
time.
You ain't married.
No, I'm sorry, not to stay.
Oh, okay.
You said how long earlier, test the time and stuff. But you just start talking to someone, and it's like, okay, if I'm seeing this today, do I keep on 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road, and then I've wasted their time or my time? You kind of have to just know, okay, Lord, should I even continue down this path, or do I just step away?
And
Because who wants to get that far down the road? And you're like, I knew it. I had that gut feeling like, I'm too old for this.
So I'm just say this, and the person in the weight room, we do see you. So I'm just say this. It seems like when you know,
Right.
like it's not. When you meet that person, it ain't this hard. Like the questions you have, you're already preparing yourself for it not to work out down the road because your mind is already there. And so I think you kind of know, you're just not willing to accept what you know. No matter how good the person is, And I did that when I was dating. There's such a good person there, but it was just something, right? And if I was still wasting my time with that person, when I met Ebony, I could have missed that opportunity. And so I think we try to hold on to people who are good people, but they may not be good for you. And it's I kind of think you already know because some things don't have to be questioned. Like if you're at the place in life where you don't want to ride or die, you ain't got to ride. Okay, you don't have to take that ride. Like you don't have to take that ride
because you ain't married.
Yeah.
So okay, so I'll say this. So Aisha said, actions are everything. What are you showing me? Valencia said, spill it. We're here for it. And then also Aisha said, what does security look like for you? So I was about to ask that too. So when you say security, what do you mean? Because it could be financially secure, it could be emotionally, it could be spiritually, like what specifically? So hold that. And then Valencia said, these days, after a couple of dates and conversations, I feel like you can tell if it's a yes or a no. It's just my personal opinion. And then Aisha said, looky here, if you are dating, you can date more than one person. Now, I know some people don't date multiple people. I think for me, it was kind of hard because if I'm dating you, I want to be all in, and I don't want to have to be like, okay, well, what did I tell this person versus what I told that person? Look, I even used to wear the same first date outfits. That's how my mind was working, so I wouldn't mess nothing up. But Aisha is right. You don't have to just date one person. You can leave, that option to explore, if you have those available options to explore more people. So go back to what Aisha said. What does security mean? What are you meaning in that space?
I was referring to a stable job, and if something happened to me and I
Financial.
can't work for 6 weeks, are we going to be okay? Are you going to
Okay.
keep working?
Okay,
That's
fair.
that's fair. Absolutely.
There's some
Yeah,
benefits.
yeah. Okay.
Something.
We're here for you. Look, can they get on unemployment? Look, they ain't getting them good stimulus unemployment checks no more.
Somebody else spilled the tea. Get Valencia on here.
Okay, okay. I guess somebody is in the waiting room. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's next? Who's overwhelmed? Let them go.
Crazy. Ah, Bethany.
Yay! She called in. No, she's working out, everybody. So she's breathing a little hard and heavy because she's working out. Go ahead, cousin Bethany. Make sure you're not muted.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Hey.
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 So this is a very hot topic. So I'm working out in the gym, so I may sound a little winded. But one point I wanted to make about non-negotiables. Oftentimes our non-negotiables are grounded in immaturity and not really have a full understanding of who
No.
we are. So we may say, I want this, I want that, but you don't even, can you hear me?
Yeah, we thought it went out, but go ahead.
No, I was saying a lot of times we don't understand who we are personally. And so we're saying, I want this and I need this in a man and I need that, but you don't even have a true understanding of who you are. And I think when you're making that decision to be with somebody, it is paramount to know who you are, to really know who you are and definitely from a standpoint of who God made you to be, you know, because we all have the fairy tales, and if you've been married more than once, you married a fairy tale, you know.
Yeah.
So now, the second time around, you don't want to make that same mistake. And so we set up these requirements, and sometimes they're not based in reality, you know. But, you know, the heart wants what it wants. Now, me, one of my non-negotiables, you got to have some decent teeth. And that was one of them.
Look, and because
Okay, so
Tim
let me-
has beautiful teeth. He has beautiful
But
teeth.
other things, once I really understood, yes, he does. And then two, for me, I had got to a point where I just totally shut everything down, and I started to know me. And I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I can't stand being by myself." And so my thing is, if you can't stand to be with yourself, why would somebody else want to be with you?
That's true.
You know. So I got to a point where I enjoy my own company. So whenever anyone came by and they disrupted my peace, or I knew that that wasn't the person. You know.
That's good.
But
Okay, so
That's my little
besides
teeth.
the teeth, what was some more of your non-negotiables, if you want to share with us?
and he had to have
He had to have
sure,
what?
he has to have a relationship with God.
Okay.
Okay.
He had to be connected to God. Because if you're not connected to God, you can't do nothing for him. Nothing. And I did the missionary dating, and
Now
winning them to
explain what the
Christ.
now explain missionary dating.
You meet somebody, and they're not necessarily where you are spiritually, but it's like you help them along in their spiritual journey. And I did that to the point several of them came to Christ.
Take them to the water.
But that
Take
was-
them to the water. Take them to the water.
But I reached a point when I knew that didn't line up with my future, because all along I would be, you know, kind of carrying them along on the way, and I knew that who I am, I need a spiritual covering, and I reached a point I told God, I need to be covered. I need somebody who can cover me, and so I just set my tail down. And I said, they're going to have to come after me. I'm not coming after them. And that's exactly what happened. And so I have a man of God that'll pray for me in the middle of the night, that will laugh with me, that will do whatever I need in that moment, because I know that he's seeking
So let me ask you
God
this.
first. And God knows who I am, so God gonna tell him, look, this is how you, go ahead.
So how long did it
Go ahead.
So I know we're talking about the non-negotiables. Were there any, because we're talking about the 80-20, do you feel,
Right.
how do you feel about the 20%? Like I said earlier, like, I don't believe that this person has to fulfill everything. I don't think we're going to get 100%. Do you believe
Nah.
that God should be that? I'm not saying God is at 20%, so please don't take it that way. But do you believe
No, no,
that
no.
God should fulfill that emptiness, or how
Absolutely.
was your take on that 20?
The way God showed it to me is like this. First of all, he gave me somebody that seeks him. So I'm a seeker as well. So what I do when there are things that my husband may do that doesn't line up with what I think should be done, what do? I go to his leader. I go to God. And so everything perfect? I'm not perfect.
Right.
He's not perfect. But we're going in the same direction. I trust his heart, and he trusts my heart. And when things are like cattywampus, it's like, okay, God, you see, and you know. So I don't go to him about it. I go to God about it. And it's amazing how God just works on him. I'm gonna tell you this little story quick.
Oh, you're fine.
When we were talking about getting married, and we were sitting there talking, and then I just sat there and I said, he didn't really ask me to marry him. And do you know, not 10 seconds later, he whispered in my ear and he said, will you marry me?
Wow.
And I'm like, you know what, God. And so it's things like that because I go to God. And so, and I know that he's seeking God. And that's where my trust is. So that's why, again, I said I needed a man that was after God,
Right.
that had a heart for God, because I knew if he had that heart for God and had the personality that I need, because Dad told us, well, if they love God, they'll love you. That's not true.
That's not true. That's not true.
That's not always true. That's not. You still have to have compatibility, and more than anything, you gotta like the person.
Yep.
You got. I mean, we talk about love, but man, I like you. I like hanging out with you. You funny. You know, you gotta like them.
Right. That's
But,
good. That's really good.
That's good.
Yeah, but the 80-20 in it. Maybe 50-50, maybe 60-40, it may be 10-90 one day, some days, but we're in it together.
Yeah.
And so I know that God is going to give me capacity to pick up the slack when I have to. But I love this man. I know who God called me to be with. And so that's what I trust in.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah. We appreciate you.
So
Brother Bell.
that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. That was really good.
All right,
Yeah,
love y'all.
Love you
Right.
too.
Okay.
That was really good.
It was good. So it's just, and we appreciate y'all for calling in. We're gonna put the number back up because I gotta restart Zoom because they said our time almost up.
This
But-
was really good.
Yeah, it was. And I love how she said you have to like the person.
Right.
Listen, they can love God. They can they could be head over heels. They can preach the walls down. They can pray heaven down. But if y'all can't have fun together, if their personality doesn't fit you, and one thing Elder Beth said was we were going in the same direction. Like you have to make sure you're going in the same direction with the person you're joined to. Everything ain't gonna be perfect, but at least we're going the same way.
And then it was so funny because she said, actually, what April Mason said and the gentleman that's over the podcast said, they said that often she grew up, when she was younger, her grandparents and things like that would tell them, well, the only thing that you need to worry about is, do they love Jesus? And if they love Jesus, you got it made. It's going, Jesus going to fix it. Jesus going to work it out. And that's not necessarily true. Like Christ is a part. He is a strong foundation. He should be your strong foundation, but there's some other things that come along with that. Can you guys let us know if you guys can still hear us because it kind of like switched off. But, Christ is definitely a firm foundation, but there should be some other little things underneath that keep the momentum going, because we not walking around the house speaking in tongues all day long. We do not speak in tongues. Like even when we pray, we do not. I know some couples pray together and that's fine, but I have my quiet time in the morning and then Carl has his quiet time at night, and I don't mess with his time and he doesn't bother me during my time. But like I said, we're not in the spirit all the time. So after you come down from Holy Ghost Hollywood, you still got to be able to deal with, you got to still be able to deal with each other. So it's like, I got to like you. And if I don't like you, like like you said, sometimes you going to get on each other's nerves. I was even thinking, during the pandemic, we were fine until we only had, honestly, and Carl will admit, we only had one argument during the pandemic, and I think it was because
that argument was just because
we was in the house.
It was like you gonna catch it.
Yeah, because I was like, we both was handing it to each other. We was both wearing each other out, And it's like, I'm glad we here together because, for me, like my love language, it does change. So during the pandemic, and actually before that, it was quality
Say
time.
that again. Cause you just admitted your love language changed.
Everybody's love language. Everybody's love language changed. Nobody's love language stays the same all the time, friend. Anyway, but mine was quality time. So during the pandemic, that was great for me because I was
A lot of that.
I know, right? Shut up. So I was getting the quality time, but then it was like, okay, I'm on emotional overload. We need to go somewhere. We need to get out this house. You need to get out my face. We just need, but we got it all out. And once we got it all out, we was like, okay, whew, we needed that, so don't put that pressure on your partner to be everything. Like she said, like Elder Bethany said, Cousin Bethany said, you have to love yourself. And if you love yourself, you should be able to, okay, let's navigate this. And then, like she said as well, what direction are we going in? I agree with Cousin Bethany. I could not, and this is me, everybody's different. You had to, as far as relationship with Christ and just the fundamental basics, I don't want to be like, are you a Christian? I ain't doing all. No, are you saved? Are you filled with the Holy Ghost? What do you believe? No, I need that. I don't like she said, I'm not trying to do no take me to the water, be baptized kind of life. I
ain't got time for all that because I'm gonna be honest with you. You gonna need all the Holy Ghost you can get to deal with me.
Say.
Man.
Look, I'm so glad he admitted it on social media. Because you special.
I know I'm saved. I know I got the Holy Ghost. I know I got temperance and love and patience and long suffering.
He act like he got a tinge of the fruit of the spirit, people. That's all. He got a little tinge.
Girl.
Look, where's Carl's mama? Like,
So anyway,
but you really do need to, you need to be really honest and realistic. And like we said, if you're dating someone, you're dating. So if they're not meeting those requirements, it's okay to walk away. I mean,
and so once again, you can call in. We just reset our Zoom.
Yes,
so,
missionary dating, Aisha. Yes.
Definitely call in if you have questions or comments. We're here about this 80-20 thing. I want to read what a comment. I want to go back to what Andrea said. She said, I was determined not to date someone who lives out of town, but ended up marrying someone who did.
Oh, wow.
Listen, you have to be flexible. You have to adjust because that 20% that she didn't want would have canceled out the 80.
Right.
Like,
that she was going to get.
You would have missed somebody. And so many of us that do that. Your 20% might not be dating somebody out of town. It could be like Demir was talking about. They didn't graduate college, or they don't have a certain job, or they don't have a certain status. Listen, a lot of people are dating for status. Like they want the status of a person and not actually to get along with that person. And so you have to adjust your non-negotiables. Like me, I'm gonna be honest. I would be horrible dating at this age and in this time because I'm not adjusting my non. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to adjust what you said you're not going to deal with or what you don't want. And I can be honest enough to say that. Me and Ebony, we tell the story a lot. We broke up one time because one of my non-negotiables were a child that wasn't even here. I said my daughter gonna wear her natural hair. I was like, I don't
that's
care.
not no. That's not what you said. That's not what you say. That's not. And I got people online that was there for that conversation. No, Carl said my child is gonna wear dreads. That's what he said, and I told Carl. Friends, friends that was there that night. It was Thanksgiving, honey. I got a good memory.
Listen,
I'm not done. I'm not done.
It may have been dreads.
I'm not done.
You cut me off.
I'm helping you tell the story right.
No, okay. So if I said dreads, it was dreads.
It was.
But that was one of my we broke up. I'm like, no,
I didn't have a problem with natural hair.
Natural hair.
I didn't have a problem with natural hair. What I had a problem was you said they're going to have. my child is going to wear dreads. And I said, dreads is a specific hairstyle, and that's a specific choice. You as a parent should not force your belief of having dreads onto a child. You live out your fantasy wanting to have dreads. Do that with your own hair. Don't do that with your child. So again, at that time, yes, the infamous breakup. Thank you.
Well, well, at the time, if I said dreads, I meant natural hair.
Yeah, you said dreads. That's why
because
that's why we broke up.
That was just
because I said that's not cool.
That was just highly important to me, that if I have a black daughter, that she appreciates her natural hair. Nothing wrong with wigs and weave. Even when me and Ebony got married, like I asked her, I want to see your natural hair at our wedding, and her hair was short and cute and pixie cut, whatever they call it.
Yes.
But it was like that's just important to me, to make sure that I have.
He said, "Don't walk down that hair." He said, "Don't walk down that aisle with no weave in your hair."
No, but seriously, that's important to
I'm
me,
just teasing.
to make sure that I have girls who embrace their natural hair. I kind of made a joke after the whole wig gate with Sarah Jakes Roberts. I was like,
Swear
well,
to
maybe.
God.
And I said it. I didn't mean, I wasn't malicious in saying it. I was like, well, maybe she'll start wearing her natural hair now, because that's a good thing. Like I don't think it's wrong.
Look at my
To be
face.
proud at. I don't care. To be proud, but I will say this: that was kind of ridiculous of me to break up with somebody because of, I was like, they're not wearing their natural. I mean, it's important to me. Don't get me wrong.
I'm
but-
glad this is being
but
recorded. Praise God.
I'm just giving an example of why I would probably be horrible dating now, because it's a lot I'm just not bending on.
How many
It's-
years later did you finally admit that you was a little outrageous?
I don't care. That's what I felt.
But I'm glad
It is what it is,
glad
what I
that
felt.
you have come to the realization that you were wrong and I was in the right. Thank you, friends that
Never.
are defending me against a baby that didn't even exist online. Thank you. I appreciate.
She did exist. I saw her in my head. I saw her in my mind. I had her name, Zion. I've had her name for the last 15, 20.
And your
She
mama
did
told us
exist.
you
She
should have named
absolutely-
that baby.
She absolutely did exist, and that's the thing. And what I was telling Damaris was for real, because I was like, okay, you're seeing yourself ahead, saying months ahead, saying, okay, I just wasted his time. I'm wasting my time. If you're already seeing that, it's your reality.
Right.
And so I saw Zion, like I saw her hair, I saw her, and so once you start thinking, and that's
He
why
saw that baby in dreads and she wasn't even here yet. Go ahead, honey.
that's why one of our daughters, we were talking to one of our daughters one time, and she was frustrated with relationships, and she was saying, well, I don't want to be married. And I said, don't say that,
Right.
because if you say it, it's going to become your reality.
Right.
You have to keep in your mind what you want. Stop speaking stuff over your life. Stop speaking stuff in your mind.
Right.
Because what you think, I mean, we ain't trying to be churchy, but as a man thinketh, that's who he's going to be. So if you're already thinking the relationship is going to fail,
Right.
don't waste your time. Like just don't waste your time, and open yourself up for the right person. Like, and that's, I think that's some of the best advice we can give on this subject. The line is still open. Call in through Zoom, meeting ID and the passcode. Ask your questions.
And I even was telling with the daughter that we were talking to, and I was telling her, just because you have had a childhood where you've experienced divorce, because oftentimes, like we said, oftentimes divorce is a trigger that for young people that say, okay, well, you know what, my parents got divorced, so you know they often take cues from what they've seen from their parents, and they just take it on for themselves, like, okay, well, that's how my relationship is going to be. And that is something that we honestly need to talk. If you have children that are going through a divorce or been through a divorce, you need to have those honest conversations with them about that. Like, hey, just because that happened to mommy doesn't mean that that's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
That's divorce is a personal choice. Some people, when they divorce, it's not always sad. Some people was like, we needed to be divorced. We were happier, we were better divorced than we were married. So, just when you have children that are involved with that, being divorced, talk to them about that as well. So their expectations won't be automatically canceled and defeated in their mind being young, because they could be like, okay, well, I don't want this, I don't want that, because that's what I saw my parents, but that does not have to be for their life as well.
And one of our comments, Joe, my brother Joe, he said Carl did what he was supposed to do. He had the vision and he walked with it as if it was real right in his face. See, I got you. Listen, that's what, and it speaks to what we was talking to the mayors about.
We didn't ask you,
is
Joe.
that-
It's like, no, I'm
is
playing.
that a man has a
love you.
vision. Like, we know where we're going. We are willing to lose whatever we have to lose. We're willing to sacrifice whatever we have to sacrifice for that vision. And so this ain't the age where I'm asking my wife to ride or die with me. Like, in order to get
at this
higher in life, I understand that. I understand that you're already established in life and you want to go higher, but this ain't the age of stay with me while
This ain't no struggle love.
if that's not what you want. Now some women can deal with that. Some women are okay with that. People have to, rebuild their life after they've been through some stuff. But if that's not what you want, it's just not what you want.
Right. And then again, now keep in mind, now with you saying you okay with the struggle love and the, not accepting everything, we don't want to hear you complaining if it don't shake out the way you want it to, because you knew it going in. And that's what we always talk about. Be realistic with your expectations. Know what you're going to get, because people really do show you their true colors. It's just sometimes we don't want to accept what we're showing them, because it's like, dang, like you almost like Jake in the State Farm commercial, like it's almost there and you snatch it back. Like be real with your expectations. And like Bethany said, be real with honestly what's realistic. Like somebody said, a college degree, why is a college degree important to you? Because some people are successful and they don't have college degrees. So is that something is that an honest contender? Be realistic in your non-negotiables. Don't have no stuff up there like, she said for her teeth. To me, I need to look in your mouth. I gotta talk to you, but honey, we can buy you some new teeth. So,
Buy some teeth.
so that can be solved in 2.2 seconds once you get on that good insurance after 30 days. So, I can get your mouth together, but your character, how's your character? Other different things, what type of person are you? What kind of individual are you? What's your beliefs? Like, that stuff can't be changed. We can get you some new teeth, but I understand, because I got to look at you. I got to kiss you, teeth, because if your teeth ain't right, then your breath ain't right. It's a whole psychological thing that goes along with that. So I totally understand, but just be realistic, be honest with your expectations, and don't expect something that you don't even have from somebody else. Because I've seen that too. Like people wanting other people to have A, B, C, D, F, G, and they ain't even got it.
Yeah.
So just be honest and be realistic with what your expectations are.
So, are we done with 80-20?
Hold on. Somebody says, what does that even mean? Ride or die? Sounds like a crime to me. So I'll let you explain what ride or die. I mean,
I don't even know what ride or die mean no more. Like I don't even understand it.
you remember that movie Set It Off? I think that's what they want. They want, we're gonna rob this bank together. We're gonna drive. We're gonna have the shield, the fence, the police shooting bullets at us. But you there with me. We're gonna ride. We're gonna ride it through.
And now one of them had a man. Now one of them had a man. One had a woman. So
Oh Jesus! Hold on. And Aisha said,
ride or die.
Aisha said you don't have to rush either, and that's true. Like if you're dating, take your time. There's no time limit on. Okay, I got to be, unless that's a non-negotiable for you. Unless you like, okay, look, I'm talking to you here. We need to be married here. Like we talked about last week. I'm sorry, I'm just not gonna date nobody for 5 years. That's a lot of time. I do think, like Carl said, within a year and a half, by 2 years, you should know where we going on this train. We should have a wonderful direction. Things should be mapped out. We should see the trees along the way in the forest.
Yeah.
I'm not just walking like, oh, I'm just, I'm not blind and in love and dumb and stupid. We too old for that foolery.
Yeah, we ain't doing that.
So yeah.
So yeah, 80-20. Basically, you're gonna get 80% of what you need, 20% of what you may want. That 20% might be lacking, but is it worth losing a good person? Like you have to accept You have to accept the fact that the person's not going to be 100% of what you want.
And you might not be 100% what they want either.
Yeah.
I think we often think, like, you know, like we said, you know, even the Bible tells us that we shouldn't think of ourselves more highly than we should. You know, we might be lacking in some areas. Somebody else may be compromising, so to speak, on us. So we just have to keep that in mind. Like, you know, what are we going towards, you know, and are these realistic expectations, you know? And again, like we said, you know, somebody said in the comments, you know, for some people, they're willing to bend the rules because it's this person versus that person. But just know that going in, like you canceled out somebody that you weren't willing to bend the rule. Like, you didn't want to bend the rules for that person, but you did for this person. And then the person that you bend the rules for, they might not even worked out. And you could have went back to the person that you was trying to make them walk on the straight and narrow. So just be consistent. If you got these set of non-negotiables, walk that line for everybody. Don't pick and choose just because it's them. You know, be consistent. That's all I'm gonna say.
That was a whole lot. That was a mouthful.
Be consistent.
Yeah, be consistent.
Be consistent.
Go in the same direction.
Right, go in the right direction.